Why do authors abbreviate their names in strange ways? Off the top of my head, Rowling got told to do it by the publishers and didn't even have the K until then. Lewis really didn't want to go by Clive Staples, so had just always abbreviated as for Tolkien. I'm not even gonna guess. He's the king of the linguistics nerds. It could be some really clever and intricate reason, or it could just as easily be that he liked what his mate Clive was doing. For J.K. Rowling, she wanted to use her real name Joanne Rowling, and she does not have a middle name. However, the publishers convinced her that boys wouldn't want to read a book written by a woman, and pressured her to use an abbreviation, so her gender would be ambiguous. So she used the pen name J.K. Rowling instead of Joanne Rowling, so no one would know she was a woman and she would have more sales. It's not more common among authors, it's just author names are those you are used to seeing. Printing John Ronald Reuel Tolkien just doesn't fly off the tongue the same way J.R.R. does and wouldn't neatly fit on a book cover. I'm not sure what you mean by it's not a normal way to abbreviate a name. Lots of people go by their initials. Female authors for centuries have used their initials or masculine pen names because sexism often meant publishers wouldn't even consider work from a woman, nor would many readers. It wasn't so strange for people to abbreviate their names like that once. Think of how many older companies and stores are named things like J.C. Penney's. People used to mainly go by their last names in public until the mid-20th century or thereabouts. Lewis and Tolkien were probably used to that. In modern times, authors who do this are usually making a nod to the classics, or they are women trying to obfuscate their gender. Maybe both. The latter is historically common in sci-fi and fantasy, where female authors would often get overlooked. Many used initials C, J, Sherry, or male pen names James Tiptree, J.R. Rowling is a more recent example. When I eventually get published, I plan to do just this, both for practical reasons and as a tribute to woman authors before me. I'm not gonna dox myself, but I've used double initials and last name in published writing due to an unfortunate full name that Googles to a serial killer and an unfortunate pair of initial letters when using single initial. What do you want him to go by his real name? Jalkian Ralkian Ralkian Tolkien? There is absolutely nothing strange about it. And there are any number of reasons why a person might choose to use their initials instead of their name. There could be more than one person with the same name in the same or similar line of work. You'll see this most often in the case of actors/actresses. They could wish to hide their gender to avoid bias. And it certainly isn't just or even mostly authors that do this. MC Hammer. Personally, because I hate my first name and the abbreviation sounds so much better and more professional. When I lived in the UK several decades ago, using initials followed by surname was commonplace. Women do it out of necessity to sell more books. What about Louis C.K. or J.K. Simmons? All I know is that in J.K. Rowling's case, she thought it would be a hindrance to her books being taken seriously if readers knew it was a woman writing them. And also it resembles J.R.R. Tolkien, which is an inspiration of hers, as horrible of a person as she is aside from that. S.E. Hinton, who wrote The Outsiders, that was then, this is now, and Rumblefish Hinton's publisher suggested she use her initials instead of her feminine given names so that the very first male book reviewers would not dismiss the novel, because its author was female. Same reason many actors change or go by a stage name. Marketing sounds better, distinctive. Also many women did it historically because of sexism in publishing. ch::n.wikipedia.org wiki ch::pounder would like a word. Women tend to do it a lot, because hiding their gender usually makes it easier to sell their books, and J.K. Rowling was told to do it for just this reason. I'd love to get a book published, and 100 use my first and middle initial. I'm not sure why you think that kind of abbreviation is unusual. That's how researchers usually abbreviate their name in their papers and how others cite their names as well, which is generally a very common use. Even day to day, I have my name abbreviated like that on my front door name tag, and so do my neighbors. I guess some people omit their middle name X using just J. Rowling, but it's not a huge difference IMO.